Oh, Thiago Silva.
Exactly.
Welcome back, Chelsea fans. I'm JB, and this week we have Dan with us. Dan is our resident German, so he's going to bring us all the information on Timo Werner and hopefully soon Kai Havertz. This week we're going to talk about the transfers. So obviously there's been 3 transfers that have been unveiled this week. And we still are waiting on Kai Havertz, so we're going to just discuss the delays in that and what's causing the problems. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our uploads. Drop a comment down below so we know what your thoughts are and what we've discussed. Tell us what you like about our videos and what you don't, so we can help us improve in the future. Daniel.
Hey guys,
Hello.
Resident German checking in here. And while I might be the resident German here, I think we've got Jamie who's got some exciting insight into what we think is going to happen with Kai Havertz and a little bit around Ben Chilwell, which I think is going to be really interesting to hear his thoughts on. We wanted to focus really on transfers today because, I mean, Chelsea have had an absolute blitz of a past few weeks and really setting themselves up for the next season. Jamie, I kind of wanted to open with, there's a bit of a joke online about, it started with you guys selling Willian to Arsenal and the cost they paid for Willian versus kind of, you know what he was brought in for and kind of what you've been paying for players. So what do you think about what Lampard's done with his deals and what he's putting money on the table for next season?
I'm very happy with how things have gone in the transfer window this year. I think, you go back for the past couple of seasons and our transfers have been horrific. Your Bakayokos, your Danny Drinkwaters, Morata, Emerson, Zappacosta, and all of these have probably cost about the same as we've spent on Ziyech, Werner, eventually Kai Havertz, Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell. And the quality difference is just staggering. And I think the link between Czech and Marina Granovskaya has really helped us to actually push for top players as opposed to we can't get that guy, he's too expensive, so we're going to go for someone cheaper just to fill a hole. And that strategy has never worked for us. But the way they've got things working now, we're using the youth and we're plugging the holes around the youth now. So we can bring through those top players that we have been bringing through our academy for years. And we're finally using that, and where we don't have those players coming through yet, that's where we're going out and spending the money and picking out the best players that we can get in those positions. And I think our team for next season is going to be frightening by the looks of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got some fresh talent in there, some good pace, and some experience that's also been brought in, which we'll talk on a little bit more. Goalkeepers. Let's just start with goalkeepers quickly. I saw something in the news today. Can you talk to me a little bit more about what's the situation there and with Kepa?
Well, Kepa is a difficult one. So much money he cost us, 72 million, I think it was. Most expensive goalkeeper in the history. Most expensive Chelsea transfer until Kai Havertz goes through. It's difficult because he's not good enough at the moment. His confidence is really low. And he's still quite young, so he could eventually, get to a level which is good enough to be playing in the top 4 team in the Premier League. At the moment, he's not, and it makes it very difficult. So we either have to just put up with him for longer until he gets to that level, if he ever does, or we need to go out and sign someone new. My personal opinion, what we're going to do, we'll end up buying someone probably around like the 30 million mark to compete with Kepa for that number 1 position, to push him as well as themselves. It will just be kind of, hoping that they'll push each other to get the best out of each other and fight for that spot. And I'm hoping, that will bring out the best in both, whoever we do bring in. I don't know which one it's going to be. That we've been linked with about 1 million goalkeepers. Obviously, Oblak is the one that we would love to have, but he's not going for anything less than his release clause at 109 million. And that's just too much.
I admit I had times where I kind of gave up on Kepa this past season. He made some pretty horrible mistakes. He didn't look good enough, didn't look confident enough. I remember talking to you about it. in some sense, when I think back on some other goalkeepers, unfair to make a comparison to David De Gea, but they had bad seasons. They were really not confident. It's all the crosses in the corners point. Not choosing the right option there. I mean, Caballero has had a few disasters in his time, and he looks more solid past season than Kepa. I'd hope maybe this could be the turning point. But I really love your point there. You need someone that's going to bring in that competition. Caballero is your good alternate option of a setback, but he's not competition because he's kind of on his way out, for want of a better phrase. But I think that might be a good choice if they get someone that can compete with Kepa.
Yeah, I think the names that I've seen has been Onana from Ajax. That's kind of gone a bit quiet recently. Nick Pope from Burnley, although I don't think he'd come in as a backup. I think he'd come in as number one.
Yeah.
A guy this week that we've been linked to from France, Edouard Mendy. I think he's plays for Rennes.
Yeah.
Which he's our goalkeeper and coaches and scouts have all kind of given him glorious reports saying that he's a fantastic player, he's a fantastic goalkeeper, and we should go get him. I believe we had a £16 million bid for him rejected this week. So there's obviously interest there. Mingan, I think his name is, another one from France. It just any goalkeeper that's half decent, I think we're being linked with. I've seen today as well, just before we've come onto this call, that apparently Arsenal are looking to sell Martinez. Obviously, he had a very good back half of the season when Leno got injured.
That would be just Arsenal to get rid of him, and he'd turn out to be great.
Yeah, and we'll buy him as well.
Yeah,
he'll come to us and win us the league,
and sell him back for about 200 million afterwards, right?
Yeah, when he's 35 and on his last legs, we'll sell him back. We'll let him go on a free, and he can retire to Arsenal like all of our other players do. So we're being linked with so many people. At the moment, I think nothing's going to happen until Havertz is sorted, because they want that locked down, and then they can make a decision on what they're going to do with the goalkeeper. Hopefully, something sorted before the end of the season, because I don't really fancy going into the season with Kepa and Caballero as our two goalkeeping options again.
Absolutely not enough, and that could be the turning point of your season. To be honest with you, if you don't have that strength at the back, right? We've talked nonsense for a little while. Let's get into some of those exciting transfers, which I know all of our many listeners, many of you, come on guys, are going to be keen to hear, and that Kai Havertz kind of insight that Jamie's going to give us. But first, lovely connection between yourself and Ben Chilwell. Ben used to play for Russian Diamonds. So did you. Also, obviously,
youth level.
Born in Milton Keynes. Yeah. So since he's your mate, tell us about Ben.
Well, me and Ben, busy mates, and no, he's from Milton Keynes, as both we are actually. He did start his youth career at Russian Diamonds, but I think he was still very young when he moved to Leicester, and he came through the academy at Leicester. I think he spent like 11 years there or something. He's not a lot of people's first choice at Chelsea in terms of fans. A lot of I've seen on Twitter, on Instagram. People didn't really want Ben Chilwell. They wanted someone like Tagliafico instead to come in at left back, a cheaper option, more established option. But it was always clear Lampard's first option was Ben Chilwell. He wanted that man, and for once, the board have gone out and got exactly the man that Chelsea wanted to get, which is fantastic. If you need a position filled and you have a first choice, you go out and get that first choice, and superb business done. I mean, their original asking price was 80 million. We managed to get him for 50. Obviously, COVID has played a part in that, and the fact that Leicester didn't get Champions League football, meaning they needed a bit more money from somewhere. So we've managed to sneak in and get a good deal over the line. So
yeah,
absolutely fantastic. He's a very good left back. I mean, the two options we have at the moment is Emerson and Alonso, which they're both really left wing backs.
Yeah.
We didn't have a left fullback, so he comes in and he gives us that option as the left fullback. And I think we'll probably keep Alonso as our option as a left wing back and move Emerson on eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've talked about it many times, but the cost of British players can be a bit over the top at times. But
yeah,
he's a young talent, and I think interesting times ahead. Now, the next one, I don't have quite a good connection point between yourself and this bloke. Slightly different nationality, but talk to me about Thiago Silva. That's exciting news. I think.
Oh, Thiago Silva.
Exactly.
I was fully expecting Alex from Glastonbury to come on and do the introduction video. We tried to book him for this podcast, but he wasn't available, unfortunately.
We'll get him on the next one, guys.
Yeah. I think it's a brilliant piece of business. We got him on a free. Wages aren't too bad either, considering PSG was on like 320k a week. He's at Chelsea. He's going to be on 100k a week. So I mean, still a lot of money, but a lot better than what it could have been. And I think it's perfect because we've brought in also a couple of young centre backs who are not quite ready. So if he's coming in and doing 1 year, 2 years, it gives us that bridge into those players when they're ready to come in. I mean, Tomori's one. He looked quite good at times last season, but you just could tell that lack of experience was a bit tough for him to get up to Premier League and Champions League level quickly enough. And the two centre backs that we've signed, again, they're both very young. They need a bit of time before they'll be ready. So he comes in. He's a top centre back, and he will do a job for us for a couple of years until the youngsters are ready. He brings in that leadership that we desperately needed at the back, and he comes in with just so much experience. He's won, I think it's 29 trophies in the last 11 years, which is absolutely incredible. So yeah, absolutely delighted with that one. I think he's going to make a massive difference.
Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I think we just talked about goalkeepers at the start of this podcast. To have that kind of structure and that strength at the back and that experience that Thiago brings in, I think he's going to do a world of good. And hopefully he can support Kepa if it continues that way, to kind of guide and direct him to where he needs to go. He's a strong player. He's been around. I'd have no worries of him being able to adapt to the Premier League and do his thing. I think it's going to be great. Interesting thing for you. According to Transfermarkt, what do you reckon his current market value is or would be if you would have had to pay for it? Now, I think he's obviously quite old. Be aware. Yeah. And what was his highest market value? Okay, considering obviously he's been around for a while and obviously transfers.
So I'd say, considering he's turning 36 next month, probably 10, 15 million would be his value. Okay, that's my guess.
You're a bit high there. I'll come back to that, guys. And in the comments below, tell me what you think his current transfer value was. But what do you think his all-time highest market value was?
So I'd say in his prime at that time, probably somewhere around the 40 million mark.
I think that's a really good guess, mate. Really good guess. 36 million.
Yeah, not far off. Yeah, I think in his prime, those kind of times, that was when the defenders weren't going for big fees.
Yeah.
That was always
2013. So you're right. I mean,
the year after we won the Champions League.
He wasn't very good right then, right? Okay. Tell me about Malang, Sarr. I don't think. I mean, obviously we're all strong Chelsea fans here, but tell me. I'm sure some people don't really know much about him. So tell me a bit about him.
All I really know about him is he's come from Nice. So he was playing under Patrick Vieira. He's a left-footed centre-back, which is like gold dust these days. It's very difficult to find a left-footed centre-back. I mean, the reason he ran his contract out was because he wasn't happy playing under Vieira. So he was keen to just let his contract go and go somewhere for free.
Yeah.
There's not much really I can say. I've not seen a lot of him, to be honest. I know that he's been bought as an option for the future. I mean, even when he was unveiled yesterday, they put out a note to say he was going to go straight out on loan. So he's clearly, they've got one eye on the future for him. I think it's a great deal because it's very high reward but low risk. You've got the opportunity to have someone who can be a fantastic player. That left right-footed defender, as I said, that people have been struggling to find, and we've got him on a free. So it's, as I said, very little risk in the deal, and he has the potential, I think, to be a very good defender in the future. Incidentally, I think it might tie into the Kai Havertz situation. Personally, this is I'm not someone who's in the know, but this is just me.
Announcement.
Breaking news. No, I'm not in the know, but I do have a little suspicion, because it's been widely said, he's going to go on loan to Germany. No club has been mentioned at all. Just they've said a lot of interest from German teams.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
You said, mate, gold dust, right? Gold dust.
Yeah, exactly. So that left-footed defender is hard to come by these days. So I do think he'll end up being a sweetener for the Havertz deal. I could imagine him going to Leverkusen.
Sorry, can we just say that again, Jamie? What was that? So that was a sweetener for the Havertz deal, do you reckon?
Yes, that's what I think personally.
Interesting.
I think he'll end up going to Leverkusen for a year, maybe two. And whilst I don't think it's going to knock off any money from the deal, because I'll break down what's happening with Havertz. That's probably the easiest way to go about it. So a fee's been agreed. They have the exact figures, what's been agreed. So in euros, it's 80 million euros plus 10 million plus 10 million. So that means there'll be one add-on, which will be for 10 million euros, and then another add-on, which will be for 10 million euros. What the add-ons are haven't been agreed yet. So Chelsea were saying, one of them will be if we win the Champions League, and Leverkusen are like, well, we don't really want that. We want it to be something a little less, because we want almost a guarantee that we're going to get that money. So it's just finding that kind of middle ground. So I think, if we throw in someone like Sarr on loan for a couple of years, you can almost knock down the significance of what that clause will be. So, we could have said, we win the Champions League. They might have said, if you win the FA Cup, and then maybe, we can meet in the middle somewhere and just make it a bit more nice for us, something that's a bit more tasteful for us, something that's not going to be as, obvious and glaring for us to go and have to pay 10 million next season and then 10 the season after. So it's just fine-tuning those details. I do think Sarr probably will end up going to Leverkusen just to sweeten the deal a little bit. The other thing that's delaying it is Leverkusen want to find a replacement before it's all kind of confirmed. Yeah. It looks like that's going to be Patrick Schick from Roma. So if you hear of a deal for Patrick Schick going to Leverkusen being completed, then you can be sure that we're going to finalise Havertz very soon after that. So
right, guys. So watch out for Patrick Schick being completed, and you'll be sure to hear from us if we see that coming up too. That's really, really insightful, Jamie. I think that's I'm sure they're looking into that option, right? That makes complete and utter sense to me. I don't think anyone really can admit that they know it kind of inside out what's going on there. But it at least gives in my head that there's a bit of logic going on there. They're not stalling for no reason. They're not stalling just because they're not sure or they're putting the brakes on. I think, both sides are comfortable with this happening, even though I'm sure not both sides are that happy about it. But I think they're just trying to progress it, and hopefully it does come good, because I know you're all super excited about this German youngster. We they are the best football.
I'm sure you're excited as well, being a German as well.
Well, give
us some insight.
Kai Havertz. It'll be,
give us your German insight into Werner and Havertz. Tell us. I'm sure you've probably watched them for the national team.
So some good players you've got there. So Timo Werner, he's a good player. Tell me what you think about this. Is it fair to make a connection to Shevchenko with Timo Werner?
I don't think Shevchenko had the same pace.
No. Yes, yeah.
Werner is absolutely rapid. I think that's where they're a bit different. Obviously, Werner can also play down the left wing. From what it looks like to me anyway, he played there quite a few times for Leipzig, so he's a bit more versatile as well. I think in terms of finishing, I'd say they're probably about on the same level. Style, I do all the highlight reels I've seen of Werner's goals. He's got a very distinctive style of finishing, and I'm so excited to see it. think we got a friendly tomorrow against Brighton, which is actually the first one in the UK which is going to have fans. So they're going to have it's away at Brighton, which is funnily enough the same as our first game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But they've allowed 2,500 fans into the ground for the game as a tester, about to bring fans back into the ground. So that's really exciting. Obviously, there won't be any Chelsea fans there; it'll all be Brighton fans. But I think they're showing the game on the Chelsea website and stuff. So our first chance to see the likes of Ziyech and Werner in a Chelsea shirt. So I'm excited to see Werner finally turn out for Chelsea and hopefully score in his first game. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So Timo for me can just run for Great Britain or for Germany, as you might want to call it for him. I think he's dependable. Look, we all know what a traditional forward is for Chelsea. I think he's strong because of his pace. He's quite grounded. I know he's about 5'11", but he's quite stable on his feet. Like you said, he's got a certain style to his finishing. I think he'll adapt to Chelsea, although he's not your traditional tall, kind of super strong forward as we think in Drogba. But I think he can hold the ball up. But I think he wants to run. He's got the pace, and I think he's going to be a great signing for yourselves. As for Kai, he's young. We'll talk about that a bit more when that signing finally comes through. I don't want to get you guys too excited right now, but Lampard is making some fantastic signings. He's been a world-liked guy in football, and he knows the game, he knows the field, and I think you guys are doing the best. You guys are doing the best transfers that I can see.
I really think Werner and Ziyech are going to link up nicely. I think those two together are going to be incredible. And obviously, when Pulisic comes back as well, just that front three
and just think about what Lampard wants to play, right?
Yeah,
how he wants to play and how that will work.
I've already kind of got in my mind what I imagine our starting 11 to be next season, and it's scary. Honestly, it's scary the quality that we're going to have in that team. Obviously, injury dependent, but that starting 11 I see us playing is just going to be absolutely ridiculous. I haven't been this excited for a season in quite a long time, to be honest. Absolutely buzzing for this year.
We've talked about Chelsea transfers in this podcast, but there's one big bit of business that is on everyone's mind at the moment. I think many will be sceptical, many will be excited to kind of want to see what might happen, or maybe they're just wishing. But we couldn't end this podcast without talking about Messi. Arguably, or many will you say, is the greatest footballer on the planet. Let's not get into that discussion right now, Jamie. But what do you think? Is there a chance of him coming to Chelsea, Jamie?
Well, I certainly think he'll be wearing this colour shirt next season. I just don't think it's going to be this exact shirt. No,
is that you alluding to? You think he is actually going to leave Barcelona?
Yeah, I think he will leave. It seems.
But what about his clause? It seems a little bit dodgy to me.
Yeah, so from what it looks like is he's got a clause in his contract which says I can leave at the end of every season for free. Now, I don't know, because depends who you listen to. Barcelona seem to think that clause says you can leave by June every year for free. He thinks it's at the end of every season you can leave for free. So it depends on what it actually says in that contract. You can leave
by June every year. What a stupid clause that is.
Well, that would be the end of the season technically. Yeah. Most seasons that would be the end of the season. So it's just kind of the current circumstances have made it.
But it's very kind of like tight.
Yeah,
kind of giving that.
I wouldn't be surprised if, to be fair, I mean it would make sense to have a specific date on there.
Yeah, I suppose.
But then. So it could, if Messi pushes that, it could end up going legal. However, I don't think it will go that far. I think Messi is probably fairly happy for Barcelona to receive a fee for himself. And I think someone like Man City, where they have those connections with Barcelona anyway. So I think they would kind of be like, yeah, do you know what, we'll give you something. So I imagine it'll end up being a player plus cash deal. I don't know which players that they would offer. I don't know how much cash would be involved. I really don't know. But I genuinely think he will end up playing for Man City next season.
Okay. So to give me
until Lampard gets on the phone to him and gives him that shout, because the second Lampard gives you a call, mate, you're joining Chelsea.
Flashes those pearly whites and gets him to join Chelsea. Okay, give me a vision, mate. You know, I think we've all been dreaming of seeing Messi in the Premier League. You know, I think there's only one thing better than that, is having Messi and Ronaldo playing together in the Premier League. But Chelsea, as we've talked about, do some fantastic business in the transfer market. Messi comes to Manchester City. What are the gaps? Do Chelsea need to fill anything to be able to cope with that?
Yeah, I'd say we need another defender. You know, if we're going to try and win the title this season, if that was like, you have to win the title this season, we need another elite centre back and an elite goalkeeper, and then probably holding midfielder as cover for Kante. So someone like Declan Rice, who could come in and be versatile. He can play in defence and he can play as a holding midfielder. So someone like that, he could cover two positions. And then, an elite goalkeeper, someone like Oblak. And I think we could still compete with City if they got Messi. But the way it stands, you know, if they got Messi, I don't think we'll be quite up there with them. With our squad now, I think you know, we're going to close the gap a lot this season. Even, you know, whether they get Messi or not, I think Chelsea will close the gap a lot this season. You'll probably be looking more like 10 points maximum off from the likes of Liverpool and City. I'd like to see it be even less, but I do think that they've still got that air about them where they're probably going to dominate again this season. But I think, you know, if Chelsea are within 6 points. If Chelsea are close with like 6 games to go, 5 games to go, I'll be happy with that. If we still have a mathematical chance of winning the league with like 5 games to go, then I think it'll be a good season.
And final question from me. Can Messi cut it on a cold, wet night in Stoke, Aston Villa, or whatever you want to call it?
It can't be Stoke, can it? It's going to have to be... God, what's
maybe FA Cup, right?
But it'll be Burnley, won't it? It'll be Burnley on a Tuesday night, and I think he probably can. The first occasion, it might be a little bit difficult when he goes somewhere on a Tuesday night and it's tipping it down with rain and it's cold. He might, you know, struggle a little bit with. I can guarantee you now, right? The first time that happens, whoever the groundsman is, he's going to do his worst possible job on that pitch. Because if
true.
There's turf up everywhere, you know, Messi's not going to be able to dribble the ball around on the floor as easily as he can everywhere else.
Yeah,
that'll be, you know, the groundsman will get man of the match that day.
Yeah, it's so true.
But no, I think, you know, he's too good to not be able to do it in the Premier League. It'll be. I'd actually want to see him go to City just to see him in the Premier League. Just as a football fan in general, not looking at it for a Chelsea fan's eyes, but as a football fan, seeing him come to the Premier League, it would be so exciting. The only problem is that City team would be ridiculous. You know, you're going to have Messi, Sterling, and Aguero as your front three. That's just disgusting.
Yeah,
it's going to be painful to play against them. But it's all good for the Premier League. You know, it's going to make it a lot more exciting next season. After everything that's happened this year, the crazy kind of times, that's something we're all potentially going to have to look forward to next season. So it's going to be great. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, totally agree. It's whatever we all want to see. Guys, in the comments below, let us know what you are most looking forward to about if Messi comes to the Premier League. Is it a raging slide tackle, flying into Messi, him beating about 2 6'5" defenders and scoring a header, you know, him falling over a badly cut Burnley turf? I don't know. Tell me what you think. You know, let us know, and we're keen to hear your thoughts. So just tell you what the proposed current market value by Transfermarkt is. If you want to sponsor us, let us know. It is 4.32 million.
Wow.
For Thiago Silva. I know, quite low.
That's
you
surprising.
spot on with the, you know, what his highest market value was. A bit high there for the cost. I mean, look, they're saying that Kai is about current transfer market value 72.9 million.
Is that euros or pounds?
No, this is all pounds. So,
okay. So that's roughly what we're paying up front, and then obviously we'll have. I think it works out to be €9 million and €9 million in 2 different add-ons. So
Yeah.
I'm not overly upset about that. I think price-wise that'd be pretty good long term.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. So just from me, guys, there's a like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, follow, turn on some notifications where you can, and give us a listen, and let me know what you want to hear from us. As we grow, the insights will get bigger and more interesting, and we hope to see you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.